This is the Medevac podcast powered by the Robert Irvine Foundation. I'm one of your hosts, David Reid.
And I'm your other host, Christian Meyers. Thank you very much for joining us today. If you are new to the Medevac podcast, keep in mind there's a price for the show. You have to share it with a friend or family member if you get something out of today's episode. I'm going to tell you right now, today's episode, you're going to get something big out of it. Our guest is a phenomenal individual who we had the pleasure of meeting a few weeks ago, Matthew Phillips, who's heading up Project Transcend. Is a new style of social media that removes all the the crap, the noise that's involved with social media. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's just dive right in. I want to hear what Project Transcend is all about.
Absolutely. So as Christian said, it's a new type of social media platform, one that's geared towards capturing your authentic self for the purpose of creating your legacy and sharing it with the people that you love. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we had to build it on a different, set of principles, different foundation because of the purpose driven aspect of the platform. So it's completely private. Mm-hmm. You own the rights to everything that's yours. I do not, which is very rare. And there's no ads, no noise, no nonsense. It's completely geared towards allowing you to share your story, pass it on to the people that you love, and kind of build a legacy that, you're excited to live.
Mm. Incredible. So how did this get started? I mean, your background's in the military.
Actually, technology.
Yes,
sir.
How'd that all get started? How did it all get put together?
Yeah, so the company we started about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's been a passion project of mine, and then I went full time about 3 years ago and dove in. The genesis of the project was really, you guys ever hear a quote, criticized by creation?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I had some problems that I was facing in my own personal life, dealing with loss, which I'm sure a lot of folks on your audience have experience with.
Definitely.
In my professional life, I was running a pretty large-scale technology business, but for the enterprise, right? Mm-hmm. Working in emerging tech. But I've always kind of thought about, well, how could I use that experience to solve some challenges for people and do a bit of a greater good. In my personal life, I've dealt with a lot of loss. And it's something that's impacted me pretty hard. And 3 years ago, that, hit me in the forefront when I had to deal with it myself. So I had a situation where I didn't think I was going to make it. And as a single father of two small children, and it rocked my world.
Mm-hmm. You thought you were going to die?
Thought I was going to die.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Still something I'm dealing with today.
Okay.
And what is this caused from? Like, what do you?
Yeah, that's something I'd like to keep private from my family.
Absolutely.
I really was searching for a way to remain present for the people that you care about forever. Not so much about being remembered, but, with two small children, and as they go throughout life, whenever they would need me, a piece of advice, a piece of wisdom, as we go through life, we have all these experiences and, hopefully we're gaining knowledge. You add time into that and you get perspective and wisdom. Mm-hmm. And then where does all that go? I look at that as some of our most valuable assets. And in that situation, I thought, wow, I've got these two small kids and I'm leaving them without any of it, all of it. You always think you have more time until you don't.
Yeah.
And in that instance, I was, thinking, wow, I'm here on my basement floor. I'm not going to make it. What have I done? What have I really accomplished? Right? Everything that I thought was important in that instance was not important at all. The only thing that mattered was those kids and figuring out how I could stay for them. Right. So that was the genesis of how do I build a set of tools that allows people to kind of capture all that they are, everything that they want to share in a way that their loved ones could experience across space, across time, forever in a meaningful way. And I looked at modern day social media and thought, that's never going to work. That's the wrong tool set, the wrong data source. So I had to build a tool set and able to get this type of info and provide the service.
Okay. And sometimes it takes really difficult events or circumstances like that to really put things in perspective for you, right?
Absolutely.
It's unfortunate, but it's true. And I think a lot of our audience, that's something that they recognize and that's something that they feel close to. Most of them are veterans or first responders. So they've faced these atrocities and they've faced death, firsthand. So they have an understanding. That's why I think Project Transcend's excellent for the audience that we're speaking to right now.
Absolutely. And I hope it can do a lot of good. There's something you just said. It's like a moment of clarity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And nothing like having a meeting with a Reaper brings you more clear of a picture of what really matters, what's really important, and a different value or perspective on your time. right? And I looked at my time going forward after this event of, okay, I've got this problem that I desperately want to solve for myself and my kids. Faced or juxtaposed with going to the office and punching another clock and improving the margins on some really expensive multi-million-dollar box of blinky stuff I barely understand, right?
Sure.
And that value system just kept aching at me. It said, like, look, if you don't try to solve this, you're just a coward.
I think that's a big point too in the entrepreneurial perspective is, coming up with a solution to a problem. So what was the problem that you see in social media?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. 3 years ago, I lost my mom unexpectedly, right? And that I just started this company, super excited, telling her all about it, the future plans. I'm walking away from my career. She came out and visited me, gave me a photo album of my childhood. We had a great visit. Left. I never saw her again, right? Dropped dead of an aneurysm. Man,
that is rough.
Yeah.
An aneurysm. We had a buddy of ours that was 18 years old and passed away. He was a Marine, and that's a brutal one. It just comes so unexpectedly. So I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. And that hit me really hard. I had just built her a house in Raleigh, wanted her to come retire, enjoy the second phase of her life with her grandkids. And now I look, what do I have? I went to her Facebook page. It's like some surveys or quizzes, a couple of Farmville scores.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no remnants of who she really was.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I looked at modern day social media, it's got the wrong type of content, right? I think if we look at Instagram or Snap or Facebook, there's not a lot of authenticity there. I think we all know how much fake stuff is there, and sometimes it's not even intentional, right? It's what you want to project out to the world, but that's not the essence of who we truly are. That's not authentically who we are, what we believe. And so I just thought that they built the wrong set of tools. They don't have privacy. A lot of people don't understand when you post pictures of your family or your kids or your thoughts or your feelings, you don't really own those anymore. Those are now co-owned. You just sold those for free. For using that service, right? If you're not paying for the product, you are the product. And so because of that, I don't think people feel comfortable expressing the type of vulnerability, the type of stories, the type of wisdom, knowledge that is really fitting this type of legacy role. It's more the projection of how they want to be perceived by others. But that's a lot different than how we want to be remembered for our children, right?
Absolutely.
And so I just thought I had to build the platform that was very purpose built for this, because the tools just didn't exist.
I like what you said there, that if you're not paying for the platform, that you are the product, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that these social media platforms that they're free to use, obviously, because you are the product, and by that we mean you are being advertised to. What you're consuming is not being paid for. Everything else is consumed by the advertisers, and in turn, that's what I think that throws a big wrench in the possibilities that could be with social media, like the positive aspects that could exist.
It does. The very foundation of what they've built, to say that if you don't pay for the product, you are the product is true, but it's almost an oversimplification of the problem. What most people don't understand is that they're not just selling your data. That's not really what they're selling. What they're selling is the ability to manipulate or change your perception or your behaviors.
To buy shit.
That's what or to
think
a
certain way,
or to think a certain way, right? We saw this a lot with the elections, right? The political alignments in that nation. It's turned from, through technology, we go through phases. And I think we went through a phase where we had a tools-based technology environment. And technology was looked at as a tool, social media was looked at as a tool. How do we connect with one another? How do we do that on an online basis? But now it's turned to a manipulation and influence-based environment where those tool sets aren't the tools.
It's a very valid point.
We're the tools. So people, they're like, well, hey, if I buy an extra pair of sneakers or whatever because Instagram put it in my algorithm, what's the big deal? No, that's not the big deal. You're not even aware on a subconscious level of how they will incrementally change your behavior or your ideas or your thinking or your mindset. And if we're not safeguarding our mindset and our subconscious, like, what are we doing?
I mean, they do this across all spectrums, like the Marvel movies nowadays. Huge moral implications within those movies.
Yes.
And they're trying to change your political views.
There's an agenda.
There is an agenda.
Like stand up for the small guy, be the hero, defeat the villains, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they are.
Even social issues, right? I mean, with the types of characters and relationships. And,
Yeah, that's a rough one. So let's talk about like how the platform looks.
Yeah.
So you said that you're safeguarding the privacy of the individual users, of course.
Correct.
How's that looking? Like, do they have that locked page where it's invite only, or what's going on with the actual technology within that platform?
Yeah. So from a building the company, I actually created. If you guys ever look at any of these apps, you're signing away your life with these like terms of service agreements.
Oh yeah,
you're scrolling
TikTok?
for 9 hours to get to.
Have
the
you
bottom,
seen TikTok?
Right? Yes, it's
like,
ridiculous.
Did you know that TikTok? I saw Joe Rogan on this. As he goes on. This like allows access to everything on your phone, including your text messages.
Yes.
They could go through it.
It's also other computers that are on your network.
Yes.
While you're utilizing
and your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
If you have TikTok, they have access to every single thing you've ever done on an electronic.
You guys get it.
Yeah.
Most people don't understand how deep that privacy violation goes with these apps. And
it's data mining.
They also don't understand the power of these analytical systems that crunch that data and what they're capable of providing. So people are like, oh, what's the big deal? Dude, they know everything about you. They know more about you than you know.
Yeah.
And it's scary. So
it is true. And that's why, like, these new dating apps, are able to pair you with individuals that are better than any, supposedly, according to who, right? But they're better for you than anyone that you'd meet at a bar.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Google knows you better than you know yourself.
It's a scary world. So, I looked at this whole thing as an opportunity to turn the page and go back to some old school principles, right? I was raised in part by my papa, my grandparents. And so I looked at this, and we're meeting with attorneys, and I said, look, I just want to simplify it. So I created a customer bill of rights instead of a terms of service.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It basically was just set on a few basic pillars. You own the rights to your data. I do not. I don't want to. As a founder of this company, dude, your memories, your thoughts, your feelings, that's yours.
Yeah.
It's sacred. It's not for me to sell to anybody. It's not for me to data mine. It's not my business. My business is protecting it for you. I don't want the rights to it. So, that's it from the get-go. Second, there's no ads, there's no noise, there's no nonsense. Your data is never going to be sold to advertisers. They're not welcome on the platform.
That's huge.
Yeah, and we're going to safeguard your legacy, for generations to have access to. So you don't have to worry about me trying to charge your son to access your legacy.
Yeah.
Right. Because you've been creating content for him. Right. So we're going to keep this available forever. We all have, or at least I have ancestry.com. Right. I can go back like 12 generations of Phillipses, and I realized like, wow, we were in the founding colonies, right? Like, cool. I didn't even know my own father. Right. So I have this historical record of dates and birth and death records.
Yeah.
But know nothing
I don't
about
know
them.
a single thing about anybody. And Ancestry is just records, right? They're empty records. So I look at Transcend.
Most of the time, they just have a name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I look at Transcend as like bringing that to life. We look at generation 2, 3 generations down the line. You're going to be able to go in and experience the thoughts, the feelings, the moments and the memories that were created for you to be able to experience. You're not going to just see a birth and date record. You're going to be able to understand their feelings, who this person really was, how they lived, how they loved.
And how are you doing that? Like, what are they inputting?
Yes.
Are they throwing pictures up? Are they throwing thoughts like Twitter? Like what?
Do you have prompts?
We do. Yeah. So basically, there's a few different ways to use the platform. One, you create moments and memories. So this could be a thought. It could be a memory, just any post that you want to make. And we allow you to express yourself in any type of medium, right? So pictures, video, even voice. And I think the human voice is extremely powerful. Yes. And we leverage the heck out of it on the platform. So you go to create these moments and memories, but the real magic comes on the next step, where we say, well, why is this meaningful to you? Tell the story behind this. And that's what's missing from almost every single platform, right? Everyone's hungry for your content because they're selling it.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a damn why it's meaningful to you. They never even ask. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
And they don't care what's going on outside of that frame.
No. And so that's where we really hit home is, we may say, hey, cool moment, cool memory. Tell the story about why this is important. Bring it to life, because that's the magic. And I brought up my mom leaving me a photo album on her last visit for a reason. We didn't get a chance to go through it. There's photos in there I've never seen. I never really knew my father, right? But I see all these pictures in there. Cool. Well, my mom passes away. Now I've got this photo album. I don't know a damn thing of what's happening on any of the page. It's like, cool. Me on a boat. Cool, Mom. We're on a beach. Cool. We're here.
Where was this?
Where was this? What was happening in your life? Why was this important? Why was this meaningful? All that's gone. And that's really the magic behind like the moments and the memories and the thoughts and the feelings that we have is the context that we breathe into them. And if we're not capturing that, we're missing the boat. So you look at Twitter, it's like, okay, you're limited on characters, right? You look at Instagram, it's a witty caption.
Yeah. What did they say? The average time you spend on an individual post, including video, is like 3 seconds.
Yeah, something. Yeah, the average engagement time.
No one is reading captions. They're just dumping data through their
doom
head.
scrolling. Yeah,
Exactly.
Not even liking anything anymore. So
it's almost entertainment. You see these social platforms, they started out as a premise of how do we connect with each other. And instead it became like, how do we compare with each other and how do we connect you with advertisers?
Well, that's what happens when you focus on the bottom line a little bit too much. Right?
Yeah. And that's a big point that I wanted to bring up is the ultimate detriment that happens when these technology companies, especially social media companies, and in this aspect, become public entities, right? What happens when you become a public entity? If you're a private entity and you make $500 million a year, you can continue making that number for the rest of forever and you're just fine.
Right.
If you're a public entity and you do that for 2 years over, your investors are pulling out and your company is going to disappear. Sure. So you have to continually press forward, which means more advertisements, less engagement from other people. How do we bump these prices up continually, which is a detriment to small business? Well, and only one way this goes, and it's negative. It's bad.
Yeah, but their entire business model is built upon monetizing your attention span.
Yeah, but how do you do that when you have 5 billion people on your platform already? Well, how do you push forward on that?
I think we're starting to see it because what they care less about is the human connection.
Yeah.
Right? And the meaningful connection. And what they're turning into is entertainment platforms. So, look, if you're looking to transcend to be more entertaining than TikTok, to be, scroll and watch a ton of
or to become famous.
It's not what we are right now.
Yeah.
What we are, if you're using Transcend, it's my life story matters. I've got things I want to share. I've got kids and family that I care deeply about that maybe I don't express myself to enough, or maybe I have a hard time expressing myself. So to answer your other question, how do we get the data in? Yeah, we hired some professionals, and for the military crowd, one of our strongest people on our team is Dr. Chloe Wisdom, right? Multiple time combat veteran.
Dr. Chloe Wisdom.
Yeah, I say
what
in
an
full,
awesome name.
Yeah.
Because it's almost too good to be true, right?
Yeah, like if you didn't, you would do her a wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
An injustice if you didn't say Chloe Wisdom.
Yeah.
We're good friends, and I still call her Dr. Chloe Wisdom too.
Yeah, like full.
Yes, 100%.
Every time.
Yeah, I'm like,
even
how
if
much
I got to
did you
get her
pay for that degree? You deserve to have me say it in every sentence, every opportunity.
I would not shorthand it ever. I would always yell, Dr. Chloe Wisdom. Look out for that
what we
piano.
So we thought a lot about like, well, how do you get people to share this type of content? How do you pull this stuff out of them, right? If I'm trying to figure out who Christian is, Christian may not be the most expressive guy.
Yeah.
Right? So how do I do that? So we wrote a series of just thousands and thousands of what we call starter prompts. They really just help you pull out, meaningful memories or stories. They prompt you to tell them. And, you kind of just keep swiping through these prompts until you find one that goes, oh yeah, that's a great memory, or that's a good thought, or that's something I want to share. You jump in, you start doing the content. That could be typing, that could be talking, that could be video, that could be adding tons of media, but we're creating a robust memory or moment that can have audio, video, multiple pictures, text. You can tell the story in lots of different ways. And then the future of the product is how do we then allow people to experience that content in a way that they haven't done so with social media yet? Today it's on an app, right? But where we're headed in the near term is a more immersive and a more interactive experience with the content, right? So that's really the future of the company, is the experience side of this. Right now, we've built the tool set to allow people to import and save their legacy and create it and actively use it. In the future, it's going to be about letting other people experience that in a really cool way, or you experiencing your own.
That's fantastic.
Thanks.
How are you making this? So you said your plans for the future to make it more immersive. Are you talking like incorporating things like VR and
Absolutely.
AR? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can sit down and like, if you're recording a video of yourself in 3D, you could potentially sit down with your dad, or you can sit down with your brother and have them tell a story to you like they're sitting next to you.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
I look at it as the 3 eyes. So when I looked at the development of the product, it was first eye was intuitive. How do I make it intuitive? How do you get the right thing to the right person at the right time?
Yeah.
Right. So, if my daughter wants to hear a funny story from her father, cool. Dad's a tag, story's a tag, funny's a tag. It's going to reach in this giant data lake of content that I've created. And it's going to say, hey, what does Piper, my daughter, need to see at this time?
Yeah.
Right. And that's how I'm using AI today. I'm not using it to fake anything. I'm not using it to fill in the gaps or recreate anything that didn't exist. I'm using it to find the right thing and deliver it to the right person. Right.
Yeah.
The next step is going to be full on, immersive. So how do you take augmented reality, virtual reality, and take, these memories that you've imported into Transcend and go into a different media to explore them, right? How do you, go in and visually interact with memories with voiceover and multimedia type experiences and just make them come to life?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the third phase of that is obviously going to be interactive.
Okay.
So now you're immersed in the memory. Well, how do you interact with the people inside the memory in a way that's meaningful and authentic? Right? That'll be the 3 steps.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
AI, you said.
Yeah, artificial intelligence right now we're using just to grab the right memory and present it to the right person.
Okay.
Right? Because as you create content, you're saying, hey, who's in this and who has the right to see it? Maybe you want your wife to have access to some things and not your kids. Maybe you want your daughter to have access to things that your son doesn't, or maybe your friends, or maybe there's stuff that, if you're a journaling person, maybe there's stuff that's just for you. It's private.
Okay.
You could set that up. That all goes into this big private data lake of creation, and then we serve it up to the right person.
Okay, I see. So, my question would be is how are you going to, capture that larger audience of those who just want to do something quick in a hurry? How long does this take to do, say, a post or, do this engagement?
Yeah, that's something we're always working on is, we wanted to build the tool set to allow them to create and save and do all that. Now it's about streamlining it and making it fun and simple and intuitive. It's quick. So it's as in-depth as you want to be, right?
Okay.
When you're trying to get as much detail, it requires more steps. When you're just, like, for example, setting really strict permissions, well, how do you do that intuitively? You kind of can't, right? So, you just you hit the plus sign. Well, what type of memory do you want to create? Video, audio, written? Cool. Then the next one's, do you want to tell a story with it? And then the next prompt is like, well, who do you want to have access to it? And who do you want to share it with? And that's it. Then it uploads.
Okay.
And you're done.
Yeah. So that's not bad at all. And that, that's really quick. And that's something, AI is going to do in the future too. It's like streamline this ability to create that story by plugging in 7 to 8 hot words and comes up with that.
Yeah, and when it comes to these prompts too, we organized them. We call them starters.
Yeah.
I hate the word prompt, so we created these starters. And the starters are really used for 2 things. They're used to create moments and memories.
Okay.
And we separated those. You can go, every stage of your life, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and we've got prompts. You could go into situations. We've got packs of prompts that are full of situations, life lessons, wisdom, knowledge.
Do you have like a timeline? Like where,
the content you create lives?
Yeah. So, right, you could just kind of see that over the course.
We call it your legacy.
And I guess my interpretation would be like the grid on Instagram, right? But you have a timeline here.
Yeah. So we call it your legacy.
Legacy.
And, you can view yours, view anyone that you're connected with. And there's also a public feed of moments and memories and also a private feed. Okay. A big part of this is we developed something called orbits. And this was based off of, I look at most people's social media platforms, they've got thousands of friends.
Yeah.
We all know that we don't really have thousands of friends. You look at the science behind the stuff, you look at Dunbar's number, it's about 150 meaningful relationships in your life. And for an introvert like me, it's not 150.
More
It's
like 50.
more like 5.
Got the close circle.
Right. So we wanted to figure out, how could we create a more meaningful social media experience? And so there's not a lot of noise. You look at your orbit, and your orbit is the things that make up the most gravity in your life. So maybe an orbit is like, your family. Your next orbit is your very close friends. So you can actually, go into your feed and look at content just from those groups. So you're not seeing the ads. There's no nonsense. There's no noise. You're just going through and seeing the timeline or the legacy or the content created by the people that you love. And vice versa. That you have access to see.
So I think there's a huge application here for the military and veteran community, first responder community, all the same, given, more often than not, our coworkers, just to put it plainly, are killed a lot more often than in any other field, right? The people that we deploy with overseas, the people we spend years training with and serving with, there's a lot of missed opportunity, or there's a fantastic opportunity here to fill in the gaps for children whose fathers or mothers were killed in combat, things like that. Especially over the last 20 years with the GWAT, I've heard it hundreds of times that this man deployed overseas while his wife was pregnant. She gave birth. He got killed overseas. Never had a single opportunity to even introduce himself to his child. It happened far, far too often, and I think there's a fantastic opportunity here for realigning the people who are in the units together, right? So Dave, for instance, right? You're at 275 Ranger Battalion, plenty of people who were killed in combat over there. So if there's a story that you want to tell about one of your friends that was killed overseas or however it was, you can attach that story to their name, and then their families will be able to access those stories as they're being told years later. I mean, that alone is life-changing for these family members, these children, the wives, husbands, whoever.
This kind of thing is like, we need to get in front of, like, have you heard of TAPS, Tragedy Assistance?
I have not,
program? No. It is all the Gold Star family members. It's a nonprofit for that. Like, bringing this in front of them and saying, like, okay, like, all the families of our fallen heroes, like, get on this platform and start sharing stories.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's why we're here, brother. Yeah. Listen, it even goes deeper than that. We're working on memorials right now for this very particular reason. We're working with a military support organization who specifically requested memorials. It's something that they care deeply about, and they want it to be more than just a picture with a name. And, they've got it on their website. Wow, can we incorporate this into your product? So yeah, we're doing that for them for the shared memory reasons, right? I've got some folks that I worked with in the pilot, the exact same scenario that you just mentioned. She goes, Matt, I would love to create this for my daughter. Here's the thing. My husband was deployed for most of our marriage.
Yeah.
His unit knows him better than I do almost, and would have more to share. So we thought, wow, how can we do shared stories and allow your daughter to understand her father through the different lenses of the people that knew and loved him and served with him, right?
Yeah.
But it even goes deeper than that. When I looked at the people that need this most, and I come from a military family, even my mother was a veteran. I look at the average length of deployments. I look at the disconnection of family. I think post like the Vietnam War, they even started talking about military family syndrome to start describing the sort of the issues that children or families were having with, military parents that are deployed for long periods of time.
Yeah.
Effective communication. They feel left out. How do you re-enter back into the family and stay consistent? How do you be present for your children when you're deployed in a meaningful way, right? And so we put a lot of tools inside of Transcend to help you do that in real time. So these starter prompts, they can be used to create moments in memory and memories, but they're also used to start like really important conversations. Let's say you open up you're having trouble connecting with your wife or your husband, or maybe, your friends. These prompts can actually be used to send an encrypted message and start a conversation.
Okay.
It's completely private. I'm not monitored. Nobody is. This is completely your business, private to you. So yeah, we looked at, how could we allow people to connect deeper in real time and have more effective communication, because that's a big deal. Some of the other military organizations that we're working with, they're working on programs around resiliency, and a lot of that is about expressing yourself and journaling. So we created starter packs for that, right? They were doing this manually in books.
Yeah.
Now we're able to kind of digitally transform that and say, oh, well, now you could just talk. Now you could do a video. And by the way, you're not sharing it to the world. You're sharing it with that org or just yourself or your family or maybe your partner or your mentor in that program, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we looked at the military application as, wow, they need this more than ever. So we actually built a program around it, which I'm pretty proud to share. We haven't announced it publicly yet, but it's called the We Transcend program. And it specifically helps a few buckets, one of them being military service members, their families, and veteran communities, which is for every subscription that we sell, with Transcend, we're going to gift one to one of our organizations that are serving that community. So if you are a military support organization out there and you want to be a part of the program, just email us or get in contact with us and we will add you to the docket, but we're just going to give you stuff. That's it. We're just going to give you licenses. I look at the stories, the legacies, the value that our military and veteran communities bring. It's priceless. I think the least we can do is protect those memories and their legacies. They're out there busting their ass to protect us in real life.
Yeah.
Right. So that's part of what we're doing. And then we've extended that obviously to people facing some end of life circumstances, cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's. But the military is a huge focus for us because that's where we found a lot of traction. And it's a cause that we care about.
Sure.
And what does the military mean to you? Like why is it so near and dear to your heart?
Yeah. Well, I grew up around it. My mother served, and I grew up raised by my grandparents, who was a Marine. It's something I've been surrounded with my whole life. It's something I care deeply about. I think the folks that serve in general, not just our military, but first responders, it's another part of the program and the We Transcend program. I don't know. I look at folks that are doing something bigger than themselves. I got to respect there.
Absolutely. Right. You mentioned traction a minute ago. I'm curious what kind of traction you're seeing right now with the application. I know you've got some pretty large corporate sponsorship going on, and
we do
pretty large conversations like this. This is happening really quickly. It is going in the right direction.
It is. One of the struggles with creating something different is always like fundraising and getting people to see your vision, especially when it breaks the paradigm of what came before it.
Yeah.
So when we looked at institutional money, we've had a lot of big offers to buy the platform, to fund the platform, but they always come at the cost of the very foundation or the principles that I built the damn thing upon. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so stupid to ask how are you going to be similar to Instagram? How are you going to be similar to TikTok? Like that's the whole fucking point here is that we're not.
We're not going to be that.
Yeah, that's the whole point here is that we're not.
Yeah. So we went the hard road. Right. I self-bootstrapped with my co-founders. I left my career, cashed in the retirement. There's nothing left, brother. This is it. I'm putting everything into solving this problem. And it means that much to me. It's more of a cause I'm trying to push, or champion. It's less of a business I'm trying to build. Of course, it needs to make money and be successful. But right now I'm focused on solving the problem. And luckily we've had some really big organizations like Apple reach out and say, hey, we see what you're doing and we love it. We want to be a part of it. And so we've got some cool things going on, but it's still a battle every day.
Absolutely.
Like, for example, we're blocked from advertising, right? As little as we are, Zuckerberg or the meta companies won't let us place ads or advertise, which is a challenge for us. So I'm glad you guys are having us on today. The only way we get the word out is by doing things like this.
Why is that? Is that just because you're a competition?
Competitive. Yeah.
So they just blackball you?
Yeah, you basically they reserve the right to refuse service to anyone that jeopardizes the relationship they have with their users or can be looked at as potentially competitive. So I've built this social platform,
their platforms,
and I'm criticizing social media in general or how it's been built or functioned or how it needs to change.
So how do we, what's the workaround on that? So obviously podcasts are really good. What are other avenues of approach for you?
It's going to be, I think the organizations that we partner with will be huge.
Yeah. Right? Organizations are always going to, be able to promote, but they can't, they're using social to push too.
That's right.
So what's,
I think it's just us, right? If I'm blocked as an advertiser. You could probably go post an ad about Transcend and it would get through for a brief period of time. But,
sure.
I think just it's going to be doing a good job and getting it in the hands of the people that need it. I've placed this bet, and I'm a firm believer that if I solve the problem and do the good work and I do it for the right reasons, I'm hoping the universe fulfills the rest. So it's like, if I can give this to the people that need it the most, and I can prove the value with them and share their stories, like, man, I'm hoping the rest happens.
Focus on the problem and don't quit.
Absolutely.
You're going to get there.
I hope so. That's the plan.
Yeah. I mean, we see far too often all the people who bullshit their way to the top, and you quickly get found out, right? If you're not doing it for the right reasons, it will come out eventually. But if you are, and if you stay on that straight and narrow, and if you continue to push for the right reasons, it will come around eventually. I mean, it has to. The idea here and what you guys are pushing for is so unique and so different in a time where people are very hungry for something unique and different, where they can be vulnerable, where they can truly be themselves and stop showcasing for the whole world and doing this compare and contrast shit, because it does nothing. There's no positive benefits to sitting on Instagram all day and showcasing the best 1% of moments that exist in your life, when we all know that life is not like that. Right. No. And I really think you guys are on the right path here, and what you're doing is commendable, to say the least.
Yeah, I really do. It's interesting. We've built the platform, and for some people, hey, this is a better way to do social media. Mm-hmm. It's private, it's authentic. I've got prompts, it's meaningful. That's good. For other people that have lost people in their lives, they understand the gravity of like what it's like not to have somebody's voice. Like, I will never hear my mom's voice again.
Yeah.
Between mine, and we're a close family, my sister, myself, my stepfather, man, we probably have less than 10 videos of my mom actually saying words. Mm. We were shocked. I thought there had to have been hundreds. No, because we're so busy in the moment, we're not taking them. So the gravity of missing the stories, the wisdom, my grandparents raised me. They're the greatest people on earth, as far as I'm concerned. Man, I lost them both before I was old enough to even understand what questions I needed to ask.
Mm. Yeah.
Like, I don't know what my papa's feelings were on like life or love or success or like, happiness. Dude, I never got there.
Yeah.
I was too young to understand what I needed to ask. And by the time you know what you need to ask, a lot of these folks are gone. So I hope that, the people that are looking for a better social media experience, like, hey, they give us a look for the right reasons. But there's a lot of folks out there that have carried around this loss, and they say, wow, this stops with us, right? Mm-hmm. If we all do this is no longer an issue anymore.
Yes.
Right. It just isn't.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough one.
Do you find that there's any issue with people wanting to be vulnerable or open, or on the contrary, do you find people are more willing to be open and vulnerable and not necessarily with just themselves on this platform, but with each other, because there's that barrier? There's like that platform barrier in between them and the other person they're trying to be vulnerable with. Yeah. I can see it going both directions. Yeah. I'm curious if you guys have any data on that yet, or
we do.
Okay.
We do. I think, and this will make sense. You guys remember when text messaging first came out?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It's like you could text somebody something that you really couldn't say to their face.
For like 37 cents.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. One of your 200 messages that month. Yeah.
But it was almost like a little bit of the communication lubricant. Now you had this different medium where you didn't have to look somebody in the face, where you were maybe saying something uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to the prompts, it almost is like an excuse to express yourself about something that maybe you would have felt awkward saying.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. But if you have a prompt, it's like, oh, I'm answering this prompt, and now we can have this conversation, or I could share this feeling or this emotion with you because I was prompted.
Yeah.
And I'm just answering the prompt. Whereas like if you're having the thought and you're just brushing your teeth and you look over at your wife and you just hit her with your feelings, like, where's this come from? This is out of left field. Like, what's going on? The prompts give you an excuse to do this almost. So I see it becoming a facilitator of meaningful communication that gets below the surface, right? I think social media today is a thumbs up, it's a heart, it's a like, it's a happy birthday once a year. Mm-hmm. With our platform, it's like it could be anything. Who do you want to express some gratitude to today?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Who do you want to thank? Who's helped you?
It
stuff
does,
like that.
It does sound like it's going to be able to facilitate some of that communication a little bit. And it's a huge topic of discussion nowadays, is that vulnerability, the willingness to share more openly. And I think people want to do that, but it's impossible to do on social media nowadays.
Yeah, and we've created communities are coming to the platform. They're in development right now, but I'll give you an example. If there was a Medevac community inside of Transcend, you have a page. Well, I could work with you guys and develop a set of starter prompts to help people share their stories that are in line with what you guys do. So this could become the platform that organizations use to facilitate and share the stories on a very particular level. So that's what I mean by platform.
Yeah.
We've built the tools, and it's a tool. It's not a manipulation. It's a tool set for us to use, right? So the tools are there, and they can be configured however you want.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's endless opportunity to modify and modulate the communities or connect different people. I mean, you can go as far as assisting with relationships, right?
Yes.
So if you're a husband and wife, or you're boyfriend and girlfriend, or however it is, and you're connected on the app, now you can have specific prompts that help generate conversation within your specific relationship, or father and son, mother and daughter, whatever it is. It's endlessly modifiable, and you can modulate it in any which direction you want. I mean, having an opportunity like that is to continue growing this platform without the need for all the additional noise. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've had some folks reach out to us with some pretty interesting use cases, whether they're marriage counselors or, the faith-based community reached out and they said, hey, a lot of our job is administering, communication between multiple parties. Somebody wants to get married, they come in, you do the premarital counseling, for example. All that's done in person. It bogs down a lot of their time. They're like, wow, could we develop a pack for that?
Absolutely.
It's like purpose built that allows us to share feelings, and people can be more vulnerable when their person's not sitting next to them in a chair. Right.
This sounds a lot more in depth than just a social platform.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. The only thing social about it is the ability to share.
Yeah.
And that's why,
and privately
when
share.
people are like, hey, you built a really cool social media platform. It's like, that was never my goal.
Yeah.
That's the tool set that I had to build to get where I really wanted to go, which was, how do we solve for legacy? And for most people, you look up legacy in a dictionary, it's going to tell you money or property. That's bullshit. Right.
Yeah.
I've lost everyone in my life. I've never had money. I've never had property from a single one of them.
Yeah.
But they left me rich legacies in who they were, how they lived, how they loved, what they stood for. That's a legacy. It's like the most valuable things that we have to pass on. It's like the way that we, pay respects to the people that came before us. And at the same time, we're fulfilling a sacred obligation to those that come after. It's what I think it's literally the most powerful tool we have to elevate the human condition at large, but it's overlooked because we're so busy looking at right now for us all. So the tool set may look and feel a lot like a social media platform, but it's really just to facilitate people to build a legacy, which is just a tremendous value. And I hope people can see that, because a lot of times we don't look at our own stories as important.
True story.
But it's the people that love you.
Yes.
Yeah.
How important is it to them?
Yeah.
Because I'm one of these self-deprecating people where, like, dude, I don't have anything valuable to add to this. But, dude, my family, they want to hear what I have to say.
Your daughters would argue. Yeah. Right.
Good point.
Absolutely.
The stories are not for yourself. They're and that's what social media is all about. It's for yourself, and that that affirmation for you. This is more for leaving that legacy to educate others, and that true, authentic self is really important here.
Yeah,
we got to come up with a better nomenclature than social media, because this is not social media.
This is not social media.
I can almost call it like a social platform or a platform.
There's got to be something cool for it, right?
Yeah, what's weird is like
human platform.
Human.
There you go.
Humanity.
There's got to be something cool for that. The human condition platform.
That's good. The experts that we talk to, they hate the word legacy. They're like, it usually means like old technology, or like, people think that that's like your name on a library. I'm like, okay, but
redefine it.
Yeah.
That's what the thing. We're going to redefine that term, right?
Yeah. Redefine it.
Yeah,
that's
legacy for them that's what that means. Legacy for us means this.
And of course, we say legacy is capitalism. Right? Money and property.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So it'll be interesting to see the ride forward. I very much look forward to working with the military organizations in particular, just because I think they have such a unique dynamic of being deployed And there's a communication aspect that can be leveraged, as well as the creation of legacy. But there's like the stuff in real time that you could be doing with all the prompts that's communicating, not just leaving memories or whatnot. So yeah, I know you guys have a huge membership. A huge following in the military space. So if there's anybody out there that can facilitate us getting this in the hands of more folks, please holler.
Two things off the top of my head. One, we absolutely need to do one for Medevac guests.
Yeah.
Like, we have over 70 guests at this point, and having them communicate within each other and like having the Medevac community where you're able to engage and ask for resources and this kind of thing is fantastic. Two, the reunion for the foundation comes to mind.
Yes.
We're going to be doing these, program yet to be named, but these unit reunions where, 10 years, 20 years, whatever the case may be, bring them together after being separated for a length of time. And having them re-kickstart a conversation and stay engaged on this kind of platform would be phenomenal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It'd be a really good way to preface the event that they're going to, get them all hooked on to their own Project Transcend group. So like if Dave's unit's getting a reunion, a 275, that group of 10, whoever was in that unit for 10 years, they know where they're going. They can stay plugged in after the event and those reunions.
Yeah, and communicate. I think that's the thing, is staying connected.
Yeah. Continuously,
like truly, and authentically connected. And these are the kind of platforms, obviously you're working with schools and universities, right? Sports teams, like, those cliquey communities are going to eat this alive.
Yeah, I sure hope so. For us, it's a matter of scale. There's just a few of us. So we're trying to focus on where the problem is most needed, but absolutely, man, we want to scale everywhere. But right now I'm really focused because I get, inquiries every day of like, hey, can we use the platform for this? Can we use it for this? The enterprise community is calling me, hey, how could I use this for my sales team to share success stories? And if I go down every rabbit hole, I'll be spread so thin. So I keep
know something about that.
Like refocusing back to the core problem. That's like, okay, but how do I get this in the hands of the people that need it right now?
And who is it that needs it the most?
I think it's people facing end of life circumstances, or people that are just, even single parents. People that are looking for a more meaningful way to engage, to connect, but the people that need it the most, I'll give you an example. One of my early beta customers, and the platform, just so we're clear, is still in beta. Okay. Right? So it's free. Everyone could go download it right now, and you're not going to get charged, right? Go build yourself a legacy.
Where do you go to download it?
So our website is projecttranscend.com, but the download it's available on the Apple App Store.
Okay.
But so it's free to use, and it will be for quite some time. Where were we going with this? What was I saying?
Damn it. I was trying to get a quick plug.
So the question who is the target audience that you're going specifically? You're spread thin.
Yeah, we're spread. Yeah.
I lost your train.
We lost our train.
It's all right.
So,
who needs Project Transcend the most right now?
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah.
People facing end of life.
An example. Yeah, I was telling you about an example. So, one of our early beta customers was, I think I should say their name, two of my great friends, John and Kim. She had a very unique circumstance to where she was 8 months pregnant and diagnosed with late stage cancer. Unexpectedly, right? So this unique situation, I just started the company. It's this passion project. I'm interviewing families that are going through loss, or somebody's got dementia. I'm trying to figure out, is this a value that people would be interested in besides just me?
Yeah.
Right. And I'm doing it as a service out of my studio at home, much like this. And I come across Kim and John, and they're like, hey, we've got some bad news, brother. This is what's happened. I'm like, oh, wow, this is devastating. Yeah, she's going into emergency surgery tomorrow. She's getting an emergency C-section tomorrow.
Wow.
So that she can immediately start, chemo and treatment, and her chances of survival are extremely low.
Damn.
So I thought about this, and it hit me hard. And I thought, wow, she's preparing to bring life into this world. At the same time, she's preparing to leave it.
Fuck.
Do you know what the doctors prescribed or gave her for this? Like a notepad. A notepad.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to write down things that are important to you that you want your son to know. And that blew my mind. I'm like, wait a minute. We're the greatest country on earth. We have all these infinite resources and experts, and this is a problem that we haven't tackled.
That's what we
They
have.
give you a notepad and a brochure of like somebody to call and maybe talk to. I'm like, this is bullshit.
That is bullshit.
This is bullshit. So that's, when I was like, okay, this is more validation that this needs to be fixed, because this is a problem that even our hospital systems turn their back on. They don't want it. They're not in this business. How do you monetize it?
Yeah.
They can't monetize it. They're not interested.
That's it.
Of course.
And I think that that issue has leaked into every single part of our society at this point. Medicine, it's a huge thing. We saw this in the COVID crisis.
Yeah.
It's all about monetary gain.
Yeah.
And we forgot somewhere along the line about human decency and compassion.
Yep.
How do you fight that? With the position that you guys are setting yourselves up in to not be focused on income and increasing that bottom line, how do you fight against that? And how do you get these other enterprise solutions to want to adopt or want to at least showcase your platform? Like, hey, if I'm not getting $1 out of this, why am I doing it?
Yeah.
Right? That's the typical mindset.
I think it's a problem that we've created a solution for. And if they care enough about their patients and they start turning that corner away from, hey, sure, if we could figure out some way for them to make it monetarily, great. That's not my interest though. It's more solving the problem. I'd give it to them. So, in my mind, you get a cancer diagnosis, there's a couple people that the hospital sends in the room. You got your treatment coordinator, right? Hey, here's your treatment plan and what we're going to do for you physically. Yeah. Then they got a financial guy that comes in and says, hey, this is kind of what you can expect from a financial perspective. Can I connect you with resources to help you? And as far as your life, your emotions, like your legacy, dude, no one. Yeah. So that's where I would expect them to say, oh, here's a tool set that you can use, because this is something that you can actively participate in to feel like you're doing something. Because Kim, when she was facing this, she started writing sticky notes for two phases. One, all over the house, because she's like, oh, my husband is now going to have to learn how to do all this stuff without me. So, hey, here's where the diapers are. Here's where the wipes are. But then she started doing little notes of like, hey, here's a joke that I want my son to know. Hey, here's a life lesson. Man, and it like gets me just talking about it. I'm so passionate. It's like, that's nonsense.
How did you connect?
Be a sticky note. I grew up with them.
You grew up with them?
Yeah, I grew up with them. And so they knew I was building Project Transcend. They reached out and said, hey, I sure wish this would have existed, man, because this is what we got to tell you. You're on the right track.
How's that for validation that you're on the right track?
Huge. It's huge. And then I lost my mom not too long after.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, that was the straw that broke the back.
Yeah. Something pushing you down this path. Absolutely.
Yeah, I flew out to California and I took a week with my family. I was at her bedside for, 3-4 days until, it was finished. And during those 3 or 4 days, I made some promises.
Yeah.
They will tell you, if you've ever visited somebody in these conditions, they can hear you. I don't know if this is true or not, but they always tell you they can hear you. Talking to them helps. Yeah, I made a lot of promises.
Sure.
So I intend to fulfill those. There's no turning back. Bridges are burned. Boats are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just marching forward.
Burn the boats. No turning back.
Exactly. So I'm hoping if there's people out there to see value in what we're doing and they say, hey, I know somebody or an organization or, I work at a hospital system. Cool. Reach out.
Yeah.
I will give it to you.
Yeah. I think you have the right recipe for success, that authenticity. You're committed to the cause of problem solving. You're passionate about it. You're going to get there. I
hope so.
And ask yourself the question: how many people are saying this is a terrible idea?
Yeah, none.
Only the people concerned with money, apparently.
Oh, only Facebook and
I'll tell you.
Which again, validation.
We'll find the right partners to take us to the dance. I think when you deal with the VC community, they have a pre-described recipe of what's come before and what's been successful. And if it varies one iota, they're like, oh, well, we haven't seen this. Even the fact that if you become a Project Transcend customer, you pay the subscription, and we're talking, it's not a lot of money, like a cup of coffee, to create your legacy, right? But I could never in any universe imagine, let's say one of your listeners says, cool, I like this. He's a customer. He's creating his legacy and something happens, God forbid. His family reaches out and I go, oh yeah, cool. You can access it for X amount of dollars. like doesn't feel right at all.
Yeah.
No,
That's weird.
no, that's weird.
Yeah.
So that's not what we do. So it's like, hey, this is accessible forever to the people that you need it to be accessible for. You as the creator, like we obviously have to keep the lights on, so you're paying us to create this legacy.
Yeah.
But even a VC will look at that model and go, oh, kid, you're naive. You got this backwards. It's upside down. You got to charge the viewer, not the creator. And I'll go, dude, I'm not making an entertainment platform.
Yeah.
So just the fundamentals of what we do, they don't get it.
I love that people are telling you what to do. Listen, Christian and I are very familiar with VC raising.
Yeah.
And, you're young and dumb at the same time. You're like, I have an idea. I'm passionate about it. I'm doing it. You're all in, right? And they're like, it's going to be tough. and you're just like, nah, they don't know what they're talking about.
I get it. Yeah.
Future is now, old man.
Get bent, old man.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. And that is the big issue that these social media companies and like where everyone else's focus is at, especially with the VC, like you're trying to get this platform funded that helps people. This is assisting with generations down the line. You're helping people understand each other, like who their family members and their friends truly are. They're like, how are we going to get paid out of this?
Yep.
What a terrible train of thought.
Look, a lot of it's leverage too. I've been told off the record on some of these meetings because I'll make a connection with some people in the room that really see what I'm doing.
Oh yeah,
right. But they can't make the
You'll
decision.
see a
without
divide
the
at the table.
right? So I'll get
Absolutely.
people that'll come to us and say, "Hey, keep doing what you're doing. Figure it out."
Yeah.
People will come, but they'll say, they're waiting for you to get a little more hungry. They think if they just wait 6 more months, then the offers will be too tempting to pass up. Right?
And
they're waiting for you to personally starve. They're waiting for you to be through so much pain that you take the easy way out. And it's like, oh, you don't know how I'm built. You don't know, like, no.
I'll scrap.
The interpretation of that, in my opinion, when they say that is like, you're not hungry. Like they're putting the problem on you. I don't see the value in this yet. I don't see how I'm going to make money yet.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to invest. And that's the problem is we need to invest in people's passions. If they're valid, of course. It can't just be, funding pipe dreams, but at the same time, if it betters society and it's got a great business plan, we should go after it.
Yeah, so we made a move that was pretty aggressive. We turned down the last VC offer, and I made the comment like, what if we just, this platform's for people. What if we just let people fund it? Right? Would there be any interest there? So we partnered with Start Engine and we did a CF crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah.
And it's not like a GoFundMe or a
it's
donation
perfect.
thing.
Yeah.
It's when people, give money, they're actually buying equity in the company. And I looked at it as like, man, people buy as much as you can and take it away from the VCs because there won't always be a future where they will allow consumers to do this. But this short window, and I don't know when this will come out, if it'll even be relevant. I think we're only up for another couple weeks, another 2 weeks or so. But we're on startengine.com. And if people want to go own a piece of the company, they can go there. But that's the way we've been doing. I think we raised 30 or 50 grand in the first 72 hours, which was awesome. Keeps us going. But we want to see that keep going up, and we'll just keep developing.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Sorry, are you guys currently in your Series A outside of the crowdfunding campaign? Are you doing a Series A, Series
Seed.
B? Oh, you're
Pre-seed.
Pre-seed. Okay.
Yeah.
Or seed.
Seed. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then we did the Reg CF through Start Engine. That's live right now. Yeah.
Series A and B is going to be a nightmare, brother.
Oh yeah. I thought buying a house was a lot of paperwork.
Oh man, and then the deliverables and the due diligence that you have to do is crazy. But we wish you the best of luck on it, man. I mean, you're doing good things. You're going to change the world with this platform if you just keep pushing.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys saying that. Look, if we could just make a difference. This sounds completely cliche, but do you have any idea what I would pay to have like one MP3 of my Nana singing while she makes dinner, or like be able to ask my papa 3 questions and have answers to them, or have more memories so my kids could witness what a beautiful soul my mom was. Like, dude, I thought they were going to have 20 years of that. Now they're just gone, right? She's a photograph. So if we can fix that for just a few folks out there. Like, man, that's what fills me up. You know?
That's what it's about.
I don't know that you can put a value on legacy, but anyway.
And that's just, you know, extending those memories out a little bit more. You know, it's important.
But look, it'll be people like you that help us get the word out that really deserve the credit. So thank you, both of you, for having me
of course.
be part of this and share some stories. I hope the platform gets used to help folks share some stories.
We're definitely going to have to talk offline about how we could, obviously we're very well connected into not only the, veteran and military community, but the nonprofit sector as well. So, tons of organizations out there that I think could really benefit from a platform like this.
Yes.
If you had something to say to the audience, as far as advice or, maybe that a little bit more on that legacy, what do you think you got?
I would say there's something about knowing yourself that is extremely valuable. And that takes a lot of work that, most people, what do you mean? I know myself. Right. But if you look inside the platform, there's thousands and thousands of prompts to kind of really help you get to the heart of who you are, what you believe, and solidify that. And it really, in my experience, or a lot of the feedback that we get, is it really helps you kind of find some purpose. Right. I was one of these people that struggled with purpose my whole life. I've always been successful. I've always been good at what I do. It never really made me feel good. I did it because I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Right. The day I became a father, I felt purpose. The day I created this company and had this idea, I felt purposeful. And I think that exploring a lot of these prompts while you're creating your legacy might have the unexpected consequence to really help align you with purpose and have a better understanding of who you are and who the people that you love are. I think that's some of the most valuable things that we can have is self-awareness. And what you do with that knowledge and wisdom is powerful. And I hope people use the platform to facilitate it. Legacy is huge. It's not something that you leave. It's something that you live and build every day. It's how you live. It's how you love. It's how you think. It's what you believe. It's who we are. And, I implore people to get in touch with that. Magical stuff happens.
Incredibly passionate. And why don't you remind us where to find you again? Yeah,
so our website is projecttranscend.com. The socials, I think it's at the Transcend app. And our campaign is live on Start Engine. I think it's startengine.com/Project Transcend, or you could just search us there. But yeah, reach out, and then you can also download the app on the Apple App Store, just Project Transcend.
Amazing. Excellent. And that's free to download. Still. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be free for a long time. Yeah, until I bake in the features and functionality that I think command a price. It doesn't make sense to charge for it.
Absolutely.
This is about growing the user base and proving that this thing needs to exist and that people find value. And after we do that, we'll worry about the next step.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Perfect.
Amazing.
I'm going to challenge the audience to get out there, download Project Transcend, go through, take a look at it. Answer some of the prompts, see what you think about it, and then leave us some feedback. Shoot the comments, shoot Matt some feedback, shoot us direct some feedback. Let us know what you guys think about it, if you're getting value out of it.
Or any organizations that could benefit from this, a community, a team. It's all about spreading the word. That's what we're all about here at the Medevac podcast is helping good people out, get the good message out.
Yep.
And do the right thing.
Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks
for coming out.
Thank you.
This has been the Medevac podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
And make sure to tune in to our Instagram page for our latest and greatest updates for Medevac Podcast.
At Medevac Podcast.
At Medevac Podcast.
At. Later.
Take care, guys.